Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Noodles at Noon, the show that focuses on things that are not worth focusing on. I am your master chef host. It is I, Ben, and joining us as always, or once again this week, is a man who ran his moving business into the ground after just a single week. It is Noah.
Hello, it's good to be back. Yes, as we announced last week on the show, I left the podcast for my moving company. That's gone, so I'm back, hoping to make some money off this show.
Aren't we all? And our special guest this week, she was my brother's prom date, but has since overcame her troubled past to win an Emmy for her work on the show Story Trek and become the co-host of the podcast What in the World Wide Web. It is Bela Erickson.
Hi, folks. I want to hear more about that moving company story. I wasn't expecting that right off the bat.
It's not real.
Oh,
we spent like a half hour preparing her for the podcast, and then 2 minutes in, and we've already talked about like something that we didn't prepare for.
We forgot to prepare her for that moment that we had this joke from last week that the reason Noah wasn't on is because he started a moving business and decided to go that route with his life.
Well, last week was our 36th show, and it was the very first week because we've done it every single week consistently. It was the first week I was unable to be on the show, so they had to write me out of the canon of Noodles at Noon.
Yeah,
that's generally a pretty good storyline to follow. I've actually heard of a lot of soap operas using that one, the moving company. So not a bad route.
Not a bad route, but
it was just a cover.
It was just a cover. Thank you so much.
It wasn't a real moving company.
Thank you so much, Bela, for being on the show. Clearly, I know who you are because you were my brother's prom date, and we went to high school together. But why don't you tell our viewers who may not be as familiar with you a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'm very happy to be here. You guys don't even know how fun this is for me. I'm in LA right now. That's one of the things about myself, and I just moved here 2 weeks ago, so I don't know a lot of people. So it's really fun to be able to see some happy faces over the Zoom call, or it's not a Zoom call. Also, nobody at home can see your faces, so forget that I said that. But anyway, I went to college in Utah at BYU. I studied journalism and a bunch of other things, which landed me 3 minors because I couldn't decide on a major, so I decided to convert them all into some little talismans that I could take with me, like a greedy little gremlin. And then what else? I just kind of landed into the TV industry while I was out there by luck and blessings and God. And I was able to do some really fun projects out there. And once I graduated, I decided I'm unattached. I don't have a career as of now. I don't have much going on in my life that'll keep me tethered here. So I guess I'll just go to LA and I'll try the acting thing for a little bit and see where it goes. So that's the rundown.
That's awesome. And as I mentioned in the introduction, you've won an Emmy, which is more than I can say for having gotten my journalism degree. So what was that like?
It is surreal. It's funny. They're heavy.
Are they?
So it does make it feel pretty real and pretty fun.
Do you have it with you in LA?
I don't. So they were so heavy that I could not fit them in my Honda Civic moving across the country. Yeah. So there was one episode overall of the show Story Trek Trending, which I worked on from, oh my gosh, I think I started in 2018 and it ended up airing in 2020, the year which shall not be named. But what happened with that is we won for an overall episode, so I got one of the statuettes for just the episode in general, and then I won for the host category of a program. So
wait, hang
that was
on.
Really exciting.
I need to redo the intro because you're a 2-time Emmy award winning.
Whoa.
I suppose, but it's it was more. The second one's a team. It's a team Emmy. I call it a team Emmy. So, but yeah, it was so fun to be able to work on that, and just it's like a perfect middle ground between the acting thing and the journalism thing, because it was kind of it's not a reality show in the sense of usual what you say reality show when you think of, but it was, it's hosting, so it's fun. It's that fun middle ground between like hard reporting and acting, and I really, really had fun.
That's awesome. And now in LA, you also have a podcast called What in the World Wide Web. What's that about?
That's about almost anything that we decide we want to talk. Really, what it was going to be was we tell each other things from the internet that the other person doesn't know anything about. I think we're vaguely on track with both of those at this point, but we've definitely veered and done some different things. Let's see. Last week's episode was about dating apps. So both of us already knew about dating apps because everyone knows about dating apps, but we had fun talking about those. Emily, my co-host, she was familiar with dating apps and actually met her husband through a dating app. She was one of the lucky ones who met somebody who wasn't crazy. And yeah, so that's what we talked about last week. And it's just been really fun because, it's something to keep in touch with people. And as you know, you can invite guests on and just chat. And yeah, technology is great that we can just kind of do this without having big studios or a lot of infrastructure. So
exactly. If you ever need a co-host, Michael loves being voluntold for things. So
heck yeah.
Michael would love to do it.
Can I lob you a softball, like a Jimmy Fallon style softball question? What is your favorite thing you've talked about on the show? Like, what have you found the most interesting through exploring these internet topics?
My gosh. Well, I get into, I wouldn't call myself a research nut all of the time, but I get into like that essay writing when I get to learn about something that I really, really like. And one of our first podcast topics was the song Driver's License. Which I'm sure you guys have heard.
I have.
Yeah.
My brother made me listen to it.
By Olivia Rodrigo. Noah, you look a little distant.
I was homeschooled, so I'm just gonna.
It came out
it
came out this year, Noah.
It came out this year. It swept the internet by storm.
I have never heard of this before. I'm watching this video and listening to it. Yeah.
Was it filmed in
I
Salt
got
Lake?
nothing.
The music video, was it filmed in like Salt Lake City?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised because that's where they filmed the show, and I should know that because of the extensive amount of research I did about this song.
Because I watched
I
the
don't
music
know.
video. I'm like, this looks like Salt Lake City.
Wait, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it probably was because they have to live there to film it and everything. But that was just so fun, just to look up stats about that and find out parallels between that and like I don't know, Beatles feuds and old breakup song traditions and different things like that. And we had a lot of fun. We had a couple of Gen Z special guests on to be able to weigh in because it was actually about a trifecta of songs where there was a lot of drama where she wrote a song, then her ex wrote a song, then the girl that her ex was dating wrote a song to clap back at her song. It was a very, very fun week for Gen Z.
I think Fleetwood Mac did some of that too. Like one of their albums is just like everybody breaking up with everybody else, and everybody got to write a song about it.
So your
I love that you
homeschooledness,
know that and not driver's license.
you being homeschooled has allowed you Fleetwood Mac knowledge,
Fleetwood
but not.
Mac? Question mark?
Yes, apparently.
Seems legit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that is so awesome, and thank you again for being on. Where can we find? Where could our listeners find your podcast and some of the Story Trek trending stuff?
Absolutely. We're a little bit everywhere. We're on Google Podcasts as well as Spotify. I think we're on a couple of other places. There's a link in my Instagram for getting there. There might not actually be a link in my Instagram. There might just be a little byline. I just got an Instagram this last week, so I'm still trying to finesse all the details there. But yeah, Google Podcasts, Spotify for sure. You'll be able to find us. What in the World Wide Web?
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for being on. We're going to dive into our weekly updates just because Noah and I like pretending we have cool enough lives to compare to that of being in Los Angeles.
To have something to talk about every single week.
Yeah. Every week I have something interesting that happens, and I'm totally not making it up. But this week at my job, as I said, I'm a social media content manager. We talked about it before. And I was writing for a client who does like health food stuff. And they're like, hey, we want a recipe post. And I was like, okay. One of the fun things about being a social media content manager is if you're writing for someone who does health food, you have to be like a healthy chef expert and know about all that stuff. Or if you're writing for like an air conditioning client, you have to be very much an expert on all things air conditioning. So it's a fun time trying to become experts in all those things. But this week I was writing for that client, And I looked up recipes. They're like, oh, quick, easy, healthy recipes. And I found one that was for stuffed bell pepper chicken parmesan. I said that. Chicken parmesan stuffed bell peppers. There we go. That's how it's pronounced. And
sounds so good.
it was because I saw this. I'm like, I love bell peppers. I love chicken. Parmesan is a cheese I've heard of. So I'm going to use this recipe not only in this post, but I'm going to make this. So I decided one night, I'm like, I'm going to go to the store, buy all the stuff. I invited my brother and his wife over. I still live with my parents, so I invited my parents because I wasn't going to eat
so nice to them.
Yeah, I'm so nice to the people who let me live here. So I'm like, yes, it's going to be great. I'm going to make these things. First of all, it said the prep time and cook time was like an hour. It took me over 2.5 hours to make these. But
that's how it always goes.
Yep. So dinner at 6 quickly became dinner at 7:30, which is fine because, as I said, they were very, very good. It was pretty easy to make once I figured out how to use the oven because I've never used it before. That's a lie.
I've used your oven before.
That's true. You've made me brownies before. Well, I rescued your sister. That's a story for another time. But so made all the stuff. It was great. They tasted really good. Everyone loved them. Everyone then went home, and then we all went to sleep. And then I woke up the next morning at 5 a.m. feeling like absolute death.
Oh, no.
And the only thing I could think of was these bell peppers have turned against me. So like the entire day I was sick from what I assume self-inflicted food poisoning. And like I'm freaking out, and like my parents wake up, which, okay, also this was the day after my dad got the second COVID vaccine. So he was down for the count anyway. But my mom was fine. My brother Andrew was fine. My brother's wife Audrey was fine. I was the only one who was affected by this. But it's like taken such, like, I can't even look at a bell pepper right now without having some sort of visceral reaction to it.
Okay, were you like, I'm trying to think, were you snitching things before it was cooked? Like, were you snitching little raw chicken bits or something? Like...
No. Noah, I don't eat raw chicken. I'm not tempted by that.
It's not like cookie dough. It's it's pretty bad.
I know it's not like cookie dough. However, the reason they tell you not to eat cookie dough is because of basically uncooked chickens.
Whoa, man.
Oh, you're right.
So,
okay,
somewhat.
hang on. You're having these visceral reactions to the pepper.
Yeah, how do you know it was the pepper?
Yeah, what made you think that the pepper is the part that got you?
I don't want to go into that.
Oh. We have empirical evidence, is what you're saying.
Yes, there is empirical evidence, but I don't want to talk about that empirical evidence.
Okay, yep.
And this is what I was hoping to get into on this podcast.
Oh,
the nitty-gritty.
The nitty.
No. Let's move on.
Noah does not want to get into the empirical evidence. But the fact that everyone, and my brother, and this has gotten a lot better since he's been married, but he's been quite a picky eater. But like in the past, the fact that he was able to eat like an entire 2 like bell peppers, which I guess would just be 1 bell pepper because I cut them in half and then put the Parmesan chicken, which I made that all from scratch. I made these whole things from scratch. I planted the bell peppers. That's why it took 2 hours.
Ben.
But
use a spell next time.
Use a spell. I know. I'm sorry. But the fact that I was the only one that was like punished, and I was the one who put in all the effort. It's definitely why I'll never ever cook again.
It's definitely poetic, that's for sure.
It is, because I like worked hard for these, and I was so excited, and I was proud to like look at my bounty, which I have prepared for you. 6 cut in half bell peppers with some chicken in them.
Kind of makes you think twice about what becoming a parent will be like, huh? Put in all the work. Maybe this is a little insight for you.
That's true. I feel like this is a pretty good indicator for how life is going to go. Mm-hmm. And not just your life, just life in general.
Life.
No, this is specifically my life.
Okay.
This is specifically a prophecy.
We have empirical evidence that this was specifically affecting only you, so you're not wrong.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the most interesting. Have you guys had any, like, where you like gave yourself food poisoning? Has that ever happened, or am I the only one? Is this like a rarity?
No, almost every day, man.
Oh,
I was just kidding. Kind of kidding. Like I love hot Cheetos and anything that's like a hot Cheeto,
Yes.
but man, my stomach doesn't believe that I love them, and I I can really max myself out sometimes. That's all I'll say about it.
fair, fair.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever given myself food poisoning, or I don't know that I've ever had food poisoning.
It's a great
But
time.
Oh.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't know. My stomach's so bad all the time. I feel like I could get food poisoning and just not know.
That's honest to goodness me too, because like when I've lived and kind of traveled in a couple different foreign countries, and like people would talk about that. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like were you okay? Like did you have stomach problems and stuff eating the food?" I'd be like, "No, no, no," and then I think about it, I'd be like, like maybe all the time actually. But in my mind, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, this is how life is. Like here we are in this room again."
That's what I get whenever they're like, side effects of this include like severe headaches. I'm like, I basically always have a headache. So
You're like, did you mean me?
I can take that.
so
Right.
I've had this disease always.
Forever.
I had
I
COVID
did-
in like 2013. Like I'm convinced of it.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure it. Yeah. So
I did have, because my stomach's so bad anyway, and you know that about me, Ben. I've talked about it. But
mhm.
a few weeks ago, I had just horrible, like I could not get out of bed, and I was feeling really bad, and I thought like, oh, I guess this is just normal. I just feel a little worse than normal, and went to work the next day to find out that one of my coworkers had also been sick and was home with a stomach bug, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then like halfway through the day, I'm like seeing things and hallucinating and like barely able to stand, and I was like, you know what? I bet I had that stomach bug too, and I think I have it now, but I'm halfway through the workday, so I should just try and finish.
Good.
And so I did. And then I went home and felt awful.
But isn't it validating to find out that it was something real, you know?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was validating.
It's like that thing that they say in The Hobbit, why does it hurt so much? Because it was real.
'Cause it was real. That's
It was real.
I had that feeling like because both my parents had COVID, and I got tested, and like there was one day I felt like terrible, and I was like, oh no, and I got tested, and my test came back as like negative. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just overreacting then.
I guess I'm a baby.
I guess I'm just a
Tess.
child.
Did you feel
Fuck.
better immediately? Like, was it
The
all
next day I felt
psychosomatic?
fine. Yeah, I was like,
There you go.
it was all in my head.
Oh my gosh.
But
I remember when I was on a boat with my family. I served a mission for my church in Tahiti, and there was a little island that I served on, and so we went back after I finished my mission to just visit. And there was an airline strike, and so we couldn't fly from the little island back to the big island, and so they sent one of their ferries. That makes it sound like
Like with wings and
yeah, she was
magic?
really nice. But she said she wasn't going to reimburse our tickets, so don't do that stuff, ferry. Yeah, so they sent those big ferries that they just use to boat people across to like a very close island. So it's just like it's meant for 30-minute boat rides, right? So they sent to pick up 500 people off of this little island with this ferry to bring back, and everything was kind of okay. But we were going so fast on this big ferry that I had never been seasick. No one in my family had ever been seasick. People all around us started throwing up everywhere. It was like a war zone. I'm not even kidding. Like 500 people, every single one of them on that boat threw up, including me, including almost my whole family. The only one who wasn't affected, my little brother, Alma, he has Down syndrome, and he has a different kind of equilibrium. So he wasn't affected by seasickness, and he loves juice. And everybody had kind of left their drinks unattended, and everyone was so weak. Not just us, like people, I don't know, around. And he was just kind of walking around. He took sips of all of our juices. He was sipping them out. He was so excited about this aspect of the trip. But the kitchen on the boat that was like in the main area, they kept making all of their food court food, which was French inspired because Tahiti is was a French conquered country. So they were making tuna paninis, tuna and egg paninis, egg and cheese paninis, and they just kept cooking them. They must have taken like airborne or something before this. Like they knew what was gonna happen. They were fine. They were slipping in everybody's, foot all over the floor. They were fine, and they kept cooking tuna melts. So that was the longest. And
It's
oh
like
my
the,
gosh,
It's like
and
the
on
band of the
TV,
Titanic just playing
Yeah.
as the whole ship goes.
It should have been that, but instead it was Kung Fu Panda 3, and and I think that movie about Egyptian gods that tanked when it came out played on repeat for the whole 7-hour boat ride.
Oh.
And that, if that wasn't the most hallucinatory experience I've ever had, I don't know what was.
Wow.
But so
man.
anytime anyone talks about being sick, I have to bring that story up because I want them to know that I've been sick.
Kung Fu Panda 3 is just the icing on the cake for that story. That makes the story.
Oh
yeah,
my
you
gosh.
feel bad about bell peppers. I feel bad about Kung Fu Panda 3.
I can
watch
end
it.
this conversation on a happier food-related note.
Please
if
do.
We'd like.
Hear it. Please,
Because
take us away.
my weekly update also had to do with cooking and chefs. This week with my work, we got to go on a work retreat and get away to the mountains for a couple days.
All those
and just-
mountain lawnmowers.
Yeah, all those mountain lawnmowers. We drove our lawnmowers up. It took us about 8 hours to go 30 miles.
Question.
So we stayed in this house and we just like do meetings for 2 days straight. Just a ton of meetings, talk about what we're going to do in the future, figure out like evaluating all our programs. And it's a really good time. We get to do some fun things too. And one of the fun things we got to do was have a personal chef come in and cook us dinner.
What?
Which was really cool. Like all of us got to bring our spouses up, except for me because Jesse was working that night. But it was a good time to just spend time with coworkers and have this 4-course meal. Each course is brought to you, and we got salad, we got lobster bisque, we got some fancy kind of steak that I can't remember what it was called. But our chef, he was really cool because he would like walk us through what the dishes were, and his name was Chef Bipple. He was from Nepal,
No.
and he's
Wow.
he's studied a lot of like Nepalese food and Indian cuisine, and
Wow.
our meal wasn't quite that extravagant, but it was still really cool. He had a lot of just stories to tell and interesting history of cuisine, and yeah, it was really good. We all woke up and felt fine the next day, so that was a big plus.
Bragger.
No bell peppers in the meal.
Way to bring us back on a high note for food. Makes us feel good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If my brother does listen to this podcast, he's gonna be really jealous that his like meal experience was a bell pepper cut in half with some chicken in it, and you got like this personal chef Nepalese inspired, which is his favorite type of food, and yeah. So sorry I let you down, Andrew.
I've discovered that the really cool thing about the way they do it with the different courses is there's so much time between each course. You eat a salad and you wait 20 minutes, and then you eat the soup and then you wait 20 minutes. It really helps everything process better. So maybe, Ben, next time you invite everybody over, maybe you put a breadstick out for each of them and then wait 20 minutes, and then
Maybe that was your mistake. Maybe you tried to meld too many components. Like give them the pepper shell 30 minutes in advance, then the chicken.
I gave you a deconstructed Parmesan chicken stuffed bell peppers.
You might not like it now, but you'll thank me later, or I'll thank me later.
I'll thank me later because my stomach cannot handle this.
I'm
Apparently.
going to do this with every meal now. I'm going to drink a glass of milk, wait 20 minutes, eat some dry cereal.
Imagine it with baking. I'm gonna eat a tablespoon of baking powder, just down 4 cups of flour.
Eat a
Wait a
raw
little.
egg.
Raw egg.
With a little bit of shell in there, just a little bit.
What sort of eggs are you cracking where you always have a little bit of shell in them, Noah?
I cannot crack eggs well to save my life. I've tried and tried. Jesse's tried to teach me multiple times.
Can't do the Bobby
I
Flay
don't
like one-armed egg crack from like the $1 Million Cook-Off?
Can
Well,
you
my
do
sister
that, Ben?
Molly,
Yeah, because I'm a
my
master
sister
chef.
Molly, who listens to the podcast, she can do like the two hands at once. Put an egg in each hand, crack them both, release the yolks, and then throw away the shells. It's really impressive. So,
oh gosh,
talk about being equally yoked.
If I could demand boo. If I could demand no, it was good. If I could demand a video supplement to this episode, if you guys were releasing a small teaser video on social media, it should just be of everybody, including your sister, cracking an egg.
You'd have to send us right now a video of you cracking an egg, though, Bella.
Okay.
Sweet.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay. If you send it, I'll
just
do
watch
it.
Me.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm glad you had a good experience with food, Noah. That sounds really nice and pleasant. Quite jealous.
It was awesome. It was a really good trip. Really good time.
Bella, do you have any? I'm sure you have some terrific anecdotes from your first bit of time in LA. I listened to the most recent podcast, and it sounds like it's been a rip-roaring good time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yes, it really has. I mean, I've lived in different places before, but I haven't lived in somewhere that I would consider to be quite this much of a big city. I do live in kind of a suburby area that's like right outside of the big city. But at the same time, you still just see a lot of stuff. I work at that restaurant, and I see a lot of sugar daddy situations, which has been a really eye-opening and interesting experience for me. Because I mean, you hear that talked about, but it's funny how blatant it is in real life, like how much you recognize what is going on. Like you won't question whether or not you're seeing a sugar daddy situation. You immediately know what is going on when they walk in. It's inescapable, and it's inwardly very fun to observe, but maybe that's a bad thing on me, like that maybe I've been judgy about it, and I really shouldn't be, because it came around to me this week. I went to a smoothie place, get that blood sugar up at some point during the day, and at that smoothie place, I've been trying to do this thing where maybe this is small town naive, but I'm trying to say hi to everybody, talk to them, like I want to meet people. So the smoothie place, there were some nice people there, and I was like talking to a lady, and she was talking about which thing was her favorite. And then there was this older gentleman who was talking to me, and he was just funny, had a little hat on. And I was just telling him, like, yeah, I think this one's going to be really good. And then I went to sit down at this little table, and he said, "Can I join you?" And I was weighing things in my head, because it was like, well, COVID. And then it was also like, well, meeting people, trying to like let people into my life, letting God guide me, being nice to people, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, well, sure. Yeah, fine. Cause it's a table. Like we're still fairly distant. And I kind of leaned back to make sure it was weird that I leaned back, but I did lean back just to kind of
get to the
ready for a quick exit.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, so if he doesn't, I mean, if it is weird, like he does see me leaning back. So that's at least some sort of kind of physical cue as to how I feel about this. He didn't pick up on the physical cue. Like he just sat down, which is fine. But he started talking to me, and he was like, yeah, what have you seen here? Like, have you been to Newport Beach? Have you been to Newport Beach yet? And I was like, I have not. And he's like, wow, man, gosh, where do you live? Where do you work? And I was like, I'm just kind of here. Like, I just settled in, blah, blah. Very evasive, But then he just kept telling me about all the different places I should go. And he's like, yeah, I could take you everywhere. What's your phone number? And I was like, yeah. And it was in that moment that I realized I had been sugar daddied. All of these girls that I was kind of laughing at the situation when I would see it walk into the restaurant, I was that situation. I was the situation, and everyone around me thought that was the situation. So who knows? Maybe all of these girls here in LA that I'm seeing doing this have just moved in from Idaho and Nebraska and are trying to be nice. And it's gone too far.
It's gone too far.
So that was a hard pill to swallow.
So when are you seeing him again?
I'm not seeing him again. But that's enough. I was evasive to the point. I was evasive in everything except for the part where he asked me if we could be friends on Facebook, because that just really got me. 'Cause, I mean, like, he was older, and he was also he was not necessarily all there, and he was really nice. So I made friends with him on Facebook, and then I left to go to another part of the mall, and I called my cousin. She was like, block him on Facebook right now. And I was like, okay. So that's that. Not going to see Anthony again. Sorry, Anthony.
Sorry,
if you
Anthony.
ever hear this
Oh,
someday
no.
somehow, you were too old for me. You just were. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, our target demographic is LA sugar daddies, so
Is it? Crap.
yeah.
Ben, I think it's time that we bring out our surprise second guest.
So,
Anthony.
yeah, Anthony,
Right
welcome.
You guys really do it all.
We did our research.
Out the works.
Noah pulls off
Anthony
a mask.
was actually
I'm
a
Anthony.
plant. He was Michael the whole time.
You guys prep your guests well.
Yeah, we do.
Like, he's not gonna have much interesting to talk about this week. Let's send in Anthony.
Let's send it in Anthony.
Let's
In the sugar
fabricate
daddy.
a story.
Well, I'm really glad that
I'm making friends.
you're making friends. I'm trying to figure out what I'm glad about from this story.
That's what I'm gonna call it. If anything, I'm trying to prove to God that I will try to follow up on him trying to guide me to be nice to people.
Yeah.
Because that one wasn't easy, and so now I'm like, okay, maybe I'll meet some people my age this week.
Let's get an easy one next time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're don't have a sugar daddy.
Me too, but that smoothie was really expensive. So
I was going to ask, did he at least pay for your smoothie?
I did think about
That's the
that.
thing, he didn't. I was in line first, so it just didn't even happen. This is $6 smoothie. It's LA, you know? And now I'm having some second thoughts, if I'm being honest.
That makes
He
sense.
didn't even get any money out of him, so
No.
I don't know.
Just the companionship and the seating and the talking and the leaning back. That whole aspect was there. I've seen the lean back, so I knew it was valid in this situation.
Oh, well, I'm glad that has been over first of all, but that to know it's a real part of the LA experience.
It's very real. I can testify to that now.
If I ever move there, I'll know that.
Yeah, you'll know how to get a smoothie paid for.
How to get a smoothie paid for you. Well, thank you for sharing. Apparently, I've been informed that we have some reviews and feedback from our last episode. So Noah, I'm going to turn that over to you since, in case people out there didn't know this, all of the emails and stuff go to Noah. So if you ever want to get to Noah specifically, go to noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
There it is.
Sorry.
And then you can go to the contact us page. You can leave a speak pipe, or you can just fill out a form and get in contact with Noah specifically. So yeah,
They all go to me.
they all go to Noah.
That's perks of being the web guy.
Yeah.
I also have to issue a correction because I asked my sister to send me a video of cracking 2 eggs at the same time, and she said she can't do that, and I was misinformed. But she can crack an egg one-handed.
The Bobby
So,
Flay way.
I don't know.
Ben can do that.
I can do that. I'm no longer impressed.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
we were going to have all of these different levels of people who could do different things. Do you think she could learn it by the time that we need to have?
I was gonna say I can.
She said she's gonna try.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say I could try, but I won't try.
Were you thinking of someone that you had seen done that in the past, and you're confusing her with
How
them?
many people do you know?
I
You've
don't
seen
know,
crack
maybe.
eggs, Noah.
How many people have I had this conversation with? I don't know. I
Probably
guess
every one of them.
maybe it's my mom. I don't know. I'll just ask. I'i'll send out a family group
Mom.
chat. I need somebody for a
Please
story
ask
that can send me a video. But yes, we have 2 emails this week. Shout out to Brian last week on the show. Really great guest. So we got a message from Brian Stanley who says, I just listened to episode 36. I loved the episode. Could have done without the guest. And
Okay.
Brian, I don't know. Ben, you were there. I wasn't there. I think Brian's probably right. I think I heard the guest was kind of a step down from the usual host, but
It may have been. I'll interject with a speak pipe that we received.
Hi, this is a fan, longtime viewer, first time listener. I just wanted to say I think the show's really gone downhill since you got rid of Noah. I'd like to see him come back. Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
wow.
You know, what's so funny about that comment is that guy used your full name in his email address.
Yeah. It's incredibly dedicated.
Who cares?
His name is Fan though, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's not me. I appreciate that fan. He's such
Absolutely.
a fan that he uses my email address when he sends the speak pipes.
That's a bit stalkerish. You should get that figured out.
He's got access to my email. I'll look into that.
But just to prove that we do listen to every piece of feedback we receive, Noah is back by popular
I am
demand.
back.
But
I do have one more.
Wait, I just
This
now
is a
realized
problem,
this was submitted 3 hours ago.
Yes.
Wow. This is hot and fresh.
I've been meaning to do it all week. We do have one alternative point of view. Brian Stanley sent the first message. We also have a message from Brian Yelnats, who says, I just listened to episode 36. I loved the episode and the guest so much. All future episodes should just be a replaying of that episode. Hashtag Team Bri Bri is my guy.
Wow. Is this the brother of Stanley Yelnats from Holes?
That's exactly what I was wondering. Yeah.
Nice to know that we have quite a vast fan base.
Yes.
It's not only vast, but it's divided, which means you guys are probably doing your part as controversial, split down the middle podcast hosts. Very cool.
That's our aim every single week. Well, thank you to everyone who submitted some feedback, emailed us, left a speak pipe. If you're interested in leaving a speak pipe, as you said, we can go to noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
There it is.
It's a thing we do.
It's a thing we do. Sorry, Bella. And go to the contact us page, click leave a speak pipe. Bella, do you have a speak pipe question for the week? It's normally just a question that we ask people to respond to.
Yeah, how many eggs can you crack in 30 seconds?
Go test it and let us know.
Please
speak pipe
of you doing it.
Not a video, just a speak pipe.
Now, I know that I can do a number of eggs in 30 seconds, but do they have to be cracked into a bowl, or can I just throw them against a wall? Because technically they have been cracked.
No, there has to be a little bit of panache here. This is still a cooking show. We're still. Wait, no, it's not.
It's not.
Well, we have a commitment to food here at this show. So yeah, please, I'd like to know how many eggs you can crack individually in succession into a bowl.
2-second penalty for every piece of shell in the bowl.
Good point.
Ooh.
And like you are allowed to like reach in and pull a shell out, but that adds to your time. So,
Right. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
If anyone does deliver on this, reach out to me and I'll Venmo you for how many eggs.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to do this now. As you can see, we're not above.
Okay, but remember, it's only 30 seconds. So.
Is this the LA price of the eggs or the price of
No,
eggs? in the UK?
it will be adjusted to your locale. Don't try.
Okay.
Don't even try, no.
Dang it. Yeah, so if you want to do that task and get Venmo'd from Bella, go to noodlespodcast.com.
Newspodcast.com.
There it is.
Man, I'm so
and
bad at this.
leave a speak pipe.
The price of an LA egg.
the
That's like
price of-
$20, Noah. I'm no Trump. Come on.
You got to get that sugar daddy then. As part of this podcast, we like playing games every week, Bella, and Noah has prepared a game for us to play, so we will be put head-to-head in this first game. So Noah, take it away.
I have prepared a game, and I'm really excited about it. I actually went back earlier this week and listened to the very first episode of our show.
I'm very sorry that you did that.
It's really fun. Yeah, it was fun. And we played a game on the show that we haven't played in a long time called What's the Deal? So, Ben, you know this game because you created it. But, Bella, I'm going to give you a topic. I'm going to say, what's the deal with blank? And then you have to guess what the story is, like what happened with this thing or this person. And
We're
then
both
I'll
journalists, or at least journalism majors.
That's true. You're both journalists, so you might know some of these depending on how much news you read, especially the
None.
kind of strange sections of
Not,
news.
Absolutely
not even
We're
a little
journalism
bit.
students, right, Ben? We do not read news.
Don't read the news.
We're not interested in that anymore.
And then I will award a point to whoever gets closer to the true story. But that is very, very, very subjective. So we'll see about this. But all right, the first one I'm going to ask, and Bella, as our guest, you'll get to answer first. Bella, what's the deal with Big Bird?
Gosh, Big Bird there he was, roaming around. I heard that the guy that played him was actually getting into some fraud trouble. And so to evade this fraud trouble, he actually wore the suit for 6 months in a row. And the authorities were unable to locate him as they didn't think about looking for him in a Big Bird suit, especially considering in New York City and big cities, they often have kind of cheapened down suit performers. So he was able to really effectively blend in with that community. And actually, after a few months, he was getting paid enough that he was able to make back enough money to pay that fraud debt off. Do you know how much I know about fraud? Does it show?
Does
So
it?
that's what happened. That's the deal.
It's
I
nice
think
to know
that's how
Bella's.
tax fraud works. Is
Yeah.
if you pay it back eventually, even after running from the law for a few years,
You're fine,
it's
right?
fine.
I read Les Mis. I know how justice and mercy work. And that right there is a mercy.
I'm picturing the scene where what is it? The priest forgives Jean Valjean for stealing the candlesticks, but he's in a Big Bird costume.
That would enhance the movie, especially for me, if he actually would just get on board.
So he needs to recut that movie, but what's his name? The Wolverine guy. Hugh Jackman, he's
Jackman.
always in a Big Bird costume.
He would do that. That's something Hugh Jackman would do.
There you go.
All right, that's a pretty compelling story, but Ben, do you have one that could top that?
I do, and I believe early on when we still played What's the Deal With, before I, for whatever reason, stopped making that game, there was one which was What's the Deal with Disneyland or Disney World, and I believe, Noah, you responded that someone was perpetually dressing up like Mickey Mouse and entering the park as Mickey Mouse, and then he had to be arrested and removed. I'm going to go that route, except I'm going to say that someone was perpetually dressing up like Big Bird, and for some reason entering Disney World, even though those aren't associated in any way.
I was going to say, and what? Entering Sesame Street? It's not real, Ben.
I know, Bella, but let me finish. Entering.
That'd be so weird. What is Big Bird doing on Main Street in Disneyland?
That's why it didn't work, because he, like me before I started talking, didn't realize that Big Bird is not part of Disney.
It doesn't end well.
It doesn't end
I
well.
feel like if I'd see that, I'd just assume Disney bought them too, because like, what does Disney not own at this point?
My gosh, I wouldn't blink an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
Big Bird and Darth Vader walking down together.
Yeah, honestly, if I walked
Oh.
and I saw like Alien versus Predator walking down Main Street, USA, I'd be like, yep, they bought it.
That makes sense. That adds up.
All right, both really great stories. The true story, I really thought about calling this game This Week in Australia Mate instead of This Week in Florida Man, which is another game we play, because this takes place in Australia. This is a headline in The Guardian. Big Bird bandits. 2 men arrested and charged after alleged Sesame Street costume theft. So the story goes, there was a circus down in Adelaide, Australia, and they ended up flying in a Big Bird costume from New York,
Wait,
valued at
Hang on a
100
second.
What?
Bella's getting oddly close.
Keep going, keep going.
So they stole this Big Bird costume. They fly it down from New York to be a part of the circus. This Big Bird costume is apparently valued at $160,000. So it's not a cheap. You could pay off. Bella could pay off her tax fraud debts with that, like easily.
Oh man.
So they have this Big Bird costume. 2 local guys, teenagers, like early 20s. That's not a teenager.
So close. You're so
2
close.
guys.
It's like that statistic that says teenage pregnancy drops off after age 21.
Okay, so not teenagers, but 2 like young 20-something guys are walking by. They see this Big Bird costume, decide to steal it, just kind of as a gag. Oh, this will be funny. They take it home. The next day, they decide, you know what? We really shouldn't have done this, and we feel guilty. So they take it back and leave a note. They leave the Big Bird costume kind of on the edge of where the circus is located. And so there's just this empty, like, Big Bird carcass laying up against a box with a note that says, "We are so sorry. We had no idea what we were doing or what our actions would cause. We were just having a rough time and we're trying to cheer ourselves up. We had a great time with Mr. Bird. He's a great guy and no harm came to our friend. Sorry to be such a big bird in. Sincerely, the Big Bird Bandits."
Wow.
And then you could say, oh, the story has a nice ending. It's great that they returned it.
Did they go to
One
jail?
more problem. In bringing the Big Bird suit back, it left a trail of feathers. And these feathers led to their house.
No. There's no way. This is real.
So they got arrested.
Oh,
They Hansel and Gretel themselves.
he really did. I love the fact that you read that like really sentimental kind of sweet note in full, and here I am thinking, teenagers can be good too, but that's not how the news story probably even ended. Like, it sounds like one of those cute like Facebook videos where they're like, oh, they left the note.
Yeah.
They went to jail.
Charged with theft and being unlawfully on premises, 2 men aged 26 and 22, so basically teenagers. Yeah, I think I have to give the point to Bella on this one. Ben, do you agree?
No, I very much agree because
Yes!
there are many overlapping factors in their stories. So
Yeah. It turns out when they got arrested, they were also committing tax fraud. So there's that.
No,
No.
no way. What a coincidence. But that
All right.
that story had so many things for me to go home and think about after this episode. I mean, them calling him Mr. Bird, them taking it, the circus leaving it out, first of all, where someone could take it.
the circus specifically having a big bird,
That smacks of fraud. I'll say
that's
that. I
that's
think they have a
licensing right
lawsuit on their
there.
hands.
Yeah.
It's a money laundering scheme right there. They're gonna lose $160,000 Big Bird costume for the insurance
Above
money.
all, what is with that price?
Okay. Bella, did you see what Noah just sent in the chat?
No, let me look at it. Is that the $160,000?
I don't think
This is the costume. It's a picture of how the costume was returned at the circus. It's just, like I said, it's a Big Bird carcass leaning against like an electrical box. And it's horrifying.
Seeing that picture, you were not wrong in using carcass. Now that I've seen
they
it.
didn't have a change of heart. They were just afraid that they're being like haunted by this
Yeah,
Big
I wouldn't
Bird
want to take that
couldn't
home.
sleep that
vestige
night.
in the corner. Ugh.
It was like leaning over their bed, and they're like, you know what? We got to take this home.
Well, okay, you know that they were very drunk when they stole it because this is Australia, and they woke up the next morning and it was like just in their living room on the couch, and they're like suddenly remembered everything that happened the night before, and like, oh no, what did we
Oh,
do? Was
Man,
there someone
I'm
in
just
this
gonna
when we
say-
took it?
Another great food poisoning story. If we didn't have an official platform for defunding circuses before, now that we know that they're spending well over $100,000 on items like this, I think we have some legitimate reasons to talk to the defund circus movement.
We're gonna get on that.
We'll get a representative on next week on
Yep.
the podcast to talk about
This
defund
is
the
what this is where our circus dollars are going. Not cool.
Not cool.
circus.
Wake up, people. Mascots are funny. I'm sorry. You can edit this out later, but I just had to say, when I was in 5th grade, we were visited by a mascot, and we were visited by the only famous mascot that our small town school could afford and or convince to come, which was, do you guys remember the McDonald's characters?
Yes.
How can you
Not
forget?
Ronald. Do you remember Grimace?
The
Yes.
purple one?
Yeah, the purple one. Grimace visited our school, which was so exciting for us until a couple of 5th grade boys pushed Grimace down the stairs. So both were arrested on 2 counts of grimacide. Not really. I always wanted to use that joke. But they did push him down the stairs. So I feel like, I don't know, teen boys, whether that be 5th grade or 21 to 22, teenagers just can't control themselves when they see a mascot. So I'd like to point that out.
I know we didn't go at the same time, but did we attend the same middle school as well? Okay, I was the mascot there.
Stop it. You must have some stories to tell, my friend.
I was literally it twice. But, like, the second time I did it, it was for some reason some, like, super... Like, I don't think it was, like, the Rachel's Project thing of the... I don't think it was that, but it was, like, on par with that sort of, like, somberness. And I was just like, I'm dressed up like a Thunderbird. And I've got the spirit stick, and I don't know what to do with it. So...
Wow, you
Rachel's Challenge, that's what it was.
Have some serious mascot history.
Mm-hmm. What's my brother?
Did he ever tell you about Chick-fil-A cow?
He was the Chick-fil-A cow.
His stories about that just brought me to the floor. So funny.
Oh, those are hilarious. Okay, we went on a mascot tangent. Bella's
All right,
winning.
Bella's up 1-0. I mean, you could just have a whole podcast about mascots and how creepy they are.
We could tell.
Oh man.
I almost got killed in a mascot suit once.
What?
What was the mascot?
You already said this was a tangent. We got to wrap it up, right?
No, okay, Bella, but you can't bring up almost dying in a mascot costume because then I can only assume
Bella...
in your open casket it's just you in the
in
the mascot
Curious
suit.
George, actually, it was Curious George at a Barnes and Noble book fair. And like I said, teens, I think these ones were probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years old.
What year was this? Because I low-key may have been there.
I don't know. It might have been, what year was this, 2010, 2011?
I was probably there.
You might have been a little old for, I don't remember.
Okay, but I loved Curious George. Like, even if I wasn't, like, fangirling over the fact it was Curious George, I was like, hey, dope, it's Curious George.
Well, there were some teens that were fangirling over the fact that I was Curious George, and they tried to rip my Curious George head off. But those mascot suits, I don't know what the T-Bird one was like, but they have a full steel chin strap.
T-Bird one was not like that. It just like wrapped around your arms with like elastic.
It's made of like lethally corroded metal. And I thought, this is it. And I guess I die in here today. I have to think about that. Luckily, I made it, but.
These kids are like, you're not the real Curious George.
No.
Curious George's head would have come off by now.
They're trying to pull like a Scooby-Doo. They're trying to pull like a Scooby-Doo mask reveal.
Right. That always seems like such a mean way to reveal because either way, it's like you're gonna hurt someone if they are the real thing. You know, you're gonna hurt that mummy, Shaggy.
Yeah, and. I mean, either that or you're just going to decapitate. Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
True.
Scooby-Doo, so demented.
So let's move on to question 2.
Sure. How many questions are there?
8. No, I'm kidding.
There are 18. No, there are only 3. And we may have to skip the second game.
Yeah.
We'll play it anyway.
All right, question number 2. Question number 2. All right, Ben, you're up first. What's the deal with this turtle?
Do I get this turtle or
you don't get a picture of the turtle?
Cool. This turtle is owned by Jose Canseco, former Oakland Athletics baseball superstar.
Ben's got to get his baseball fandom into the podcast every week.
Jose Canseco and his wife famously own a turtle, which is valued at over $26,000, and they decided to paint it, and they were quickly informed by all of the internet that painting a turtle is a great way to suffocate it. And I don't know if this is the story that you're going for, but this is 100% a true story.
Wait. Okay.
Yep.
Oh my.
Jose Canseco and his painted tortoise. What did he paint the tortoise or the turtle of?
I think it was just like the color red. He painted it
like a Mario, like a red Koopa from Mario.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was actually.
All right, this is a good story. Bella, do you have any other thoughts?
Yes. So, Library of Congress workers were delighted to find that an image that they had thought was destroyed before making it into their archives in a fire in a smaller library had actually been preserved and was stuck to the back of another photo. This picture, which I have pulled up right now, I can show it to you in a moment, depicts a turtle being awarded a very tiny Medal of Valor by Harry S. Truman. When when this turtle was in its oldish age, middle old age, it underwent some different kinds of experiments to help look at stamina for troops during World War II, and following that, because World War II had just finished during Harry S. Truman's term. So there's the picture of Harry S. Truman standing, smiling next to the turtle. There are some other officials, tiny medal around his neck.
Wow, a little reward for a great big turtle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Bella's story was certainly happier. It
Yep.
did not end with the turtle getting injured. All right, the real story. A turtle in Daytona Beach, Florida, crashed through a woman's windshield while she was driving.
Oh no!
So this is another Florida man. I was not looking for Florida man type stories, Ben, but this one did take place in Florida. There's really not a lot of detail on what happened. She was driving down Interstate 95, so not like she's going fast, when all of a sudden a turtle comes crashing through her windshield. It injured the woman. She suffered a gash on her forehead where the turtle hit her.
Oh my gosh!
No idea how the turtle. It's been dubbed the flying turtle because no one's quite sure where the turtle came from. Maybe it got flipped up by like a car tire. I don't know. There are no other details here, but this turtle came through a woman's windshield.
May I argue why I should get this point? Which is
Yes.
because while I was talking about mine, we did discuss the similarities between my story and Mario Kart, and the similarities between the actual story and Mario Kart also kind of there.
You know, that's a good point. I was also thinking about the fact that in your story, Ben, the turtle did not survive.
Oh, the turtle
and
died?
It appears that the turtle did not survive.
I don't know why I was
this
holding on to that
incident
hope.
either.
It got sent through a windshield. That poor turtle.
True. I didn't even think about that. In response,
Jeez, Noah sent a picture.
see
Why
it.
did Noah send a picture?
I have to clarify, this is a different turtle. This is one that happened in Georgia, apparently.
what? Wait a minute. So this is a more than one-time occurrence.
This is a more than one-time occurrence. This happened last year, this Georgia one, but I wanted to give you like a visual aid.
Are people investigating? Because this is kind of starting to look like a
This is
phenomenon.
serial turtling. It's
Bizarre.
Yeah, who's measuring the stats on how many turtles fly through windshields each year?
I hope it's just the two in history.
Can
in
we
all
get
of history.
Can we get a data analysis? By
Let's get
somebody
Michael on that.
Somebody named
Please,
Dilton.
He would be. Well, I mean, I just like you to look at this.
Oh,
and
that's
think
the.
about,
The turtle with the medal.
could Ben's turtle that he was talking about, weakened by the pain, have flown through a car at such a rate? Or could a turtle that was schooled in covert ops and military tactics crash through a speeding car windshield?
Her turtle is basically a super soldier. So
I let the audience decide.
We'll give the point to Ben because of his case, and also because then it's tied going to the final round, and we always rig it that way. So let's go to the final question. Bella, back to you. What's the deal with pennies?
Pennies. Nebraska man swallowed 400 pennies in succession, didn't stop, took them all night, was rushed to the ER, lived through it, expelled them in an organic and natural fashion.
Natural?
As natural as can be.
That's
in,
$4.
considering the circumstances.
$4 worth of pennies straight down. Okay. Ben.
Well, Nebraska man, in lieu of the recent coin shortage that has faced our nation, has been just stockpiling pennies, buying them from banks, like exchanging, like, can I withdraw all my money in pennies? And he's been just stockpiling a bunch of pennies in his basement because his chronic fear of this coin shortage, but also trying to capitalize on the fact that he doesn't really understand Bitcoin, and he thinks that like pennies are soon going to be worth like $63,000, kind of like Bitcoin or Dogecoin. And he's just thinking like, there's a coin shortage, I'm going to stockpile all the pennies and be rich someday. But really, he only has like $17.83. But he thinks he's like a millionaire.
He feels like it when you have that much coin, like, because that takes up a lot of space.
It does. That's a lot of pennies.
Now, would you believe that both of our stories are two separate news articles about the same person, but at different times?
We're talking about the same guy. Once he realized he was wrong, he just started eating the pennies.
We're talking about a story of desperation here.
This poor Nebraska man. Unfortunately, the true story takes place in Georgia to a Georgia man. A Georgia man was denied his final paycheck after leaving his job badly at a body shop. After he threatened to contact the Department of Labor on this body shop, the man received his final paycheck in the form of 91,000 oil-soaked pennies in his driveway.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh.
What did he
So
do?
his spiteful boss just showed up with a mound of 91,000 pennies, and he soaked them all in oil, some kind of oil at his auto shop.
The rage.
So apparently the man started to try and clean off all the pennies, and it said he made it through about $5 worth of the $915 worth before realizing that wasn't going to work. It does have a happy ending. He ended up getting in contact with Coinstar, which you've probably seen in like grocery stores. You can dump all your pennies in and then get like a gift card equivalent to your pennies. So Coinstar showed up with a wheelbarrow and collected the 91,000 pennies worth, $910. It was 91,515 pennies worth $915. They gave him a $1,000 check and took the pennies away to do whatever Coinstar does with their millions of dollars worth of pennies.
He made a profit.
He made $85.
That was worth it.
Dang.
He made a profit. He got on the news. He left a probably pretty bad job. So it's a happy story all around.
So, someone who made money off of their pennies, a large stockpile of pennies.
So, I can't say it.
Yeah, you can say it.
So, a bunch of pennies covered in a substance.
a brown, oily substance.
A number of pennies.
I was going to give the point to Ben, but I think, Bella, you've changed my mind. Bella gets...
Yes! Okay.
Oh, good job, Bella. Congratulations on winning your first game. Yay! We're going to tumble real quick into the second game. It's another 3-question game. So in the latest episode of Bella's podcast, What in the World Wide Web, they had a wonderful discussion about dating apps. And I would like to play a less than wonderful game about dating apps. One of the most telling things on a person's dating app is their bio. Some bios provide honest information about a person's life. Others, like the ones we're about to talk about in this game, are a little bit more odd. In these rounds, I will read most of a person's bio, but I will leave out keywords or phrases, and it will be your guys' job, Bella and Noah, to fill them in and explain why you filled them in that way. I will award points to the closest person or whoever's answer I like the best, or whichever answer will make the last round more interesting. Is everybody ready to play this game? Any questions, comments, concerns, or violent disagreements?
Not violent.
Okay.
Just
Mild.
Soft disagreements.
Moral disagreement, but I won't get violent about it. All right.
No.
So let's meet our first. I feel like I could do this like a dating game or something, but let's meet our first contestant. Meet Date Sherry. Their bio reads: grandfather seeking companion for granddaughter. She suffers from blank. So, Bella, we'll start with you. What does this granddaughter suffer from, which would lead her grandfather to try and help her find a date on Tinder?
Sadness?
Sadness?
That's
All right.
good.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. She suffers from sadness. Noah, what is your answer? What does she suffer from?
She suffers from spending too much time with her grandparents. Like,
Aww.
she's
It's like the opposite of like all those.
she loves her grandparents so much that she's like, I'll never find I don't want anyone. I just want to spend forever with you, Grandpa.
Aw. I like that. That's not suffering. That's
That's like
But it is for the grandpa because he doesn't want to spend time with her. He's got
done.
other things.
he's done. She's not
He's
great.
got a life.
Sherry's kind of weird.
I can't change mine, can I?
What are you going to change it to?
Eczema.
I'll let you change it.
Thank you.
So the correct way that this gets filled in, it reads: grandfather seeking companion for granddaughter. She suffers from poor choices. So thinking about, and I mean, I'll just rule out eczema, but I'll let you do your first.
Absolutely not.
I'll let you do your first answer, which was sadness. Sadness or spending too much time with her grandparents. Which also, I wrote this game in a little bit of a haste, and I now realize I put power choices instead of poor choices.
Power choice.
Power choice.
She suffers from power choices. Whatever that means.
She suffers from wanting to take all of the energon from the mind. I get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what is more of a poor choice? Sadness?
Sadness isn't a choice. And if you think it's
I
a
gotta rule
choice,
myself out on both.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with Noah. Spending too much time with their grandparents is a little bit of a
is
poor
a
choice.
poor choice.
Especially if it gets to the point where your grandfather puts you on Tinder.
Right.
Yeah. That makes him sound like he is the kind of guy who's making her make poor choices.
That does. We're going to go
Yeah.
with spending too much time with the grandparents. Noah takes point
Oh, yeah.
1 going into round 2. Meet Marco. His profile reads: getting lost in the supermarket as a child was scarring. Why was this a scarring experience for Marco? Noah, we're going to start with you.
Is this Marco Rubio? Because we've talked about him on the podcast before.
We have, and I'm sure getting lost in the supermarket as a child was a scarring experience for him, which has led to, I don't know.
That's why he threw that football at that kid.
That's why he threw the football at the kid. Yeah. Florida man Marco
why was it?
Rubio.
Why was it a scarring experience for him?
Yeah.
I think because he went home with the wrong mother. He got in the car. The mother, she was like a homeschool mom. She had 12 kids. You can't keep track of all of them. She just got home and a few hours later realized, oh, that one's not my kid.
Yeah. That coming from homeschooler Noah, who is one of 3 children. Bella.
Yeah, come on. If I've got a mom yelling Marco, and there's going to be 15 people in this that also yell Polo.
Oh, you're exactly right.
There's no way.
So what Bella said, it cut out a little bit, but if someone's yelling Marco in a supermarket, there's going to be a bunch of people yelling Polo in the supermarket. And the correct answer is getting lost in the supermarket as a child was scarring. His mom would call out his name and everyone would call out Polo, drowning out his pleas for help. So obviously, Bella, you get that point, which means it's tied 1-1 going in the final round. We didn't even have to rig it to make this happen.
Awesome.
Good job, everybody. And our final round, meet Zach. Zach says, for the love of all that is holy, please someone date me so I can stop blank. What is Zach going to stop doing as soon as someone starts dating him? And we get to start with Bella.
The Earth.
Just so I can stop the Earth. And melt with you?
Not even.
I'll
Wait,
stop
what was his
the
name?
world and melt with you. It's a
Was
song.
his name? Yeah. No, he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to stop it.
He just wants to stop it.
the earth.
His name was Zach. Is that what you were asking?
No, I was wondering if it was going to be Clark or Lex.
No, sorry.
That's okay.
So he can stop the Earth, says Bella. Noah, what is he going to stop doing?
Well, I remember the days before dating and all of that, and what I did was go out with my sister, and we would go like to movies and stuff. So I think, please date me so I can stop going out with my sister.
Define going out.
Just
Spending time?
you know, getting lunch, going go-karting.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Well, the
I've never
correct
been
answer.
go-karting with my sister.
You want to go go-karting, Noah? Let's go go-karting. Bella, you can
Yeah, I
jump
want to
in.
go go-karting.
Yay!
We're all gonna go go-karting individually because we live in different states.
Oh.
Just let us know when you go, and we'll also go.
We'll go at the same time. Set
Yep.
up a Discord.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so
go
this
kart
is what it
Discord.
says. For the love of all that is holy, someone please date me so I can stop bringing my mom to costume parties.
Noah, you win.
So, I mean, mom, sister, Noah, I think you just won a game. First of all,
won a game.
so we don't have to designate this podcast with the sad Noah emote, which we designate all podcasts that you lose with.
This is the first time I'm looking back at our Discord because we keep a history of episodes in which I lose. This is the first time I have won a game since March 29th.
Oh my gosh.
That's almost a whole month.
And
That
when we
makes it
play like 3 games a week usually, and I'm on every
Yeah.
week, you think it would be better.
You made it seem like it was going to be like a year. I don't feel sorry for you.
But before then, it had also been
before
a
that-
little bit of time.
It was like 2 months. So.
All right. Well, enjoy your victory.
Enjoy your victory. Congratulations, Bella, on winning the first game, and thank you so much for being on the show this week. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for us?
Thank you. Yeah, does the fact that I lost the second game cancel out the prize that I would have won if I...
No, because the prize you win is a signed picture of Dennis Quaid. So
Shut up.
I'll go
No,
get
it's
it.
not. You don't have that.
He does. This is something we joked about the first week, and then like 2 weeks later, Ben shows up with an eBay one Dennis Quaid signed
no.
picture.
Oh, what movie is he in that he looks like that?
What? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
What movie is that in where he's in that getup?
Some cowboy movie, I assume.
Silverado? No, he's not in Silverado. I can't place that.
Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
Truly? I can't
No.
believe you got a Dr. Quinn medicine woman reference here in this ball court. Good for you, Noah.
Good job, Noah.
You're one of the good ones. You're one of the good teenagers.
This is like when we were playing Seen It the other night with Michael. One of the questions was, what does Charles Ingalls what nickname does Charles Ingalls give to his daughter on Little House on the Prairie? And I knew it, but it wasn't my question, so I just had to sit in silence.
Sit in
hold it in.
knowledgeable silence.
But you have
Wow,
to.
so I'm
I'll send this to you in the mail.
really?
Yeah.
That would mean so much. I don't have anything up on. I'll show you what I have. I made this set of 2 paintings. I need to get like a painting of Jesus or something nice so that this doesn't look like it's religious iconography on my wall. Now that I have that, I feel better about it. I painted these. I
Those
don't know
are
if you guys
amazing.
familiar. Thank you.
I took a picture that'll go up on the website if
Good.
that's all right with you, Bella.
Yeah, absolutely. I painted those. It's my favorite, absolute favorite frame from those stories is when Toad loses his button and he yells to high heaven like millions of buttons in the world and none of them, and Frog is just looking at him like that. such a good moment.
That's amazing, and that's wonderful wall art. But now you have a signed picture of Dennis Quaid.
You think if you think I'm not going to put that up on my wall right when it gets here, you are mistaken. I'm so excited. Thanks for having me, you guys. This was so fun.
Thank you
I
for
wish
being
I could
here.
be here.
Yeah, this
every
was
time.
great.
You are more than welcome anytime you would like to come on the podcast.
Wow. Okay. Careful what you wish for.
Careful what you wish for.
Play a sparkly noise right there.
Noah, thank you for being on. Congratulations on winning a game for the first time in a month, but like for the second time since we've started doing the show. That's wonderful for you. Really proud of you, bud.
Thank you. I'm going to be riding this high all day.
And thank you all for listening, because you guys are the true winners, because we're all winners here. So thank you so much for listening. Hope to see you again next time. Bella, thank you once again. Make sure you go check out her podcast, What in the World Wide Web. Again, it's on Spotify, Google Podcasts, other places, which I'm forgetting.
Me too, I don't know.
Okay, perfect. So make sure you go check her out. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.